Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be the greatest day of your life. We talk a lot together about kindness and being kind to others and leaving negative circumstances in the kindest and friendliest way possible. There is a yin to this yang though. Are you too kind? There is something, there is a sense of being too nice. You let people walk all over you like a carpet. You be so nice. Unfortunately, in our society, I feel that kindness is seen as a weakness. And especially in business. When I do business with other companies, I'm a really nice guy. And sometimes I have to be Doug, and sometimes I get to be Douglas and I get to be a nice guy. But it's unfortunate that when people see somebody nice, they automatically see an opportunity to just take advantage, I guess, and that's terrible. And I'm not saying that everybody does that, but that happens quite a bit, and I've identified when that circumstance has occurred to me as well. So I feel that, and empathy is incredibly important in our cruel world, right? We have a lot of negativity, a lot of bad in our world, but too much of a good thing is bad for you as well, right? And there are many signs that your kindness hurts you even without you even realizing it. And I just want to talk about some ways that our kindness can hurt us and that we can be too kind. And we just need to make sure that we have a counterbalance. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some identifiers that maybe you're too kind and what you can do about it. And we're going to, we want to help others. Yesterday I talked about charity. I think charity is pivotal. It's a monumental task that we should take on as successful individuals, okay? We should be nice. But are you somebody that often puts others' needs before your own? One of the clearest signs you're too kind and empathetic is that you're putting everyone else before you, even if it means sacrificing your own well-being. Now, as a parent, I do this regularly. I put my kids on a pedestal and I cater to their needs, right? Because that's what we've been told good parents do. But if you are frequently sacrificing your own well-being, such as skipping meals, neglecting personal hobbies, or ignoring your own emotional needs, it means your kindness is, unfortunately, hurting you. Do you find yourself constantly apologizing even when you haven't done anything wrong? Now, constantly apologizing even when you haven't done anything wrong can be another sign your kindness and empathy are hurting you. This completely rots your self-esteem and makes you feel as though you're always wrong. And this can lead to a diminished sense of self-worth and belief that your needs and opinions are less important than others. There is really no need to apologize excessively to someone. Building self-awareness can allow you to address any unhealthy patterns and develop strategies to assert yourself. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, we discuss asserting yourself, self-awareness, identifying your specific needs, becoming the best you that you can be. But let's not become the best us that we can be and sacrifice ourselves as a result. Some sacrifice is okay, but to completely apologize for every little thing almost seems like an abusive type relationship. I have no place for that in my life. I have no place for people constantly bowing down and apologizing, and I'm not that kind of a person either, and I'm not going to do that. But I don't always put myself before everybody else. Doesn't mean I'm sacrificing too much. It just means I love my kids, I love my spouse, I love those around me, and I want to help them be successful too. But we need to find a happy medium, right? Do you have a hard time saying no to others? Another thing that has more to do with assertiveness than kindness is saying no to others and setting boundaries. Now, we've talked quite a bit about setting boundaries, and for a long time, I too had this issue. I wanted to please everyone and struggled to stand up for myself. Have you ever been there? And I won't say that I was a doormat, but there was certainly times when I felt like one. And it all comes down to setting healthy boundaries, doesn't it? I mean, when everyone has clear expectations, there's almost no need to say no, and they will know what you will and will not do. Now, in a few videos ago, we talked about setting boundaries. I just wanted to say that again. I think it's really important that you clarify with others what it is you will and will not do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Even in a work setting, there are certain things you were hired to do and certain things they're just trying to throw on your plate because you're an able-bodied individual. You're super productive. You've been working with Doug Vandergraph. You got great time management skills. You're working towards a more successful life. It's changing you. They're going to notice that, but don't let them throw everything on your plate just because you're a capable individual. We need to set boundaries with others. Or you're a nice parent and all the other kids are like, hey, your mom will take us here, your mom will take us there. Don't let them run you ragged. It just comes down to the point where, hey, I'm willing to do this, I'm willing to compromise, and I'm willing to help, but then other parents need to take on some of the activity as well. We need to set clear boundaries. And those are just a couple of examples, but I think you get me. You're smart. You know exactly where I'm coming from. And it doesn't mean that we don't care or we won't help, because, of course, as successful people, we want to help as many others as we can be successful too. And ultimately, building self-confidence does take time and effort, but it will provide a solid foundation for asserting yourself. So we need to have self-confidence. And how do we do that? We start by using I statements to express how a situation affects us personally, and avoid blaming or attacking others. Don't blame others and say, I'm always doing this for you, and and all this kind of stuff. Take a couple of deep breaths, consciously manage your emotions, because responding out of anger or frustration just escalates the situation and undermines the message, right? You say, hey, I feel like I'm always having to provide the rides, or I feel like I'm always being given the extra work. I would like to spread this around with some of the team members. Would that be possible? Is that something we can work on? Or would one of your friends' parents be willing to pick up? I would be willing to take you. You want to help. You just don't want to be the end-all be-all. And that's perfectly fine, Inevitably, the end-all be-all ends up being a weak link, and it comes at your expense, both mentally and physically. Because when you're mentally in anguish, this controls this. So then your body gets out of whack, right? And then inevitably that can impact your health down the road. I want you to be as healthy as possible, both here and here. Successful people are healthy. They feel good. They're full of energy. That's who I want you to be. I want you to be full of energy and feel valued. You deserve to feel valued, okay? You're amazing. You're wonderful. I believe in you. And I know you have tremendous value to provide the world. Now, here's something else we've talked about a little bit. Are you somebody who absorbs others' negativity? And our minds are like sponges. I've talked about this. Every single thing that's going on around you, whether you think you're actively listening to it or not, is being recorded by this supercomputer. This controls this. This supercomputer on top of your shoulders, it also controls all of the results you're getting in your life. So if you let crap go up here, you're going to get crap results. You want to put good things, positive things into your mind. And if you find yourself absorbing other people's negativity and internalizing their negative emotions, it's a sign that your kindness and empathy are hurting you. And I'll tell you what, it will. It'll hurt you. It may not be immediate, but down the road, it's going to cause you some problems. And absorbing negativity is a heavy emotional burden to carry around, and it really is, right? It can contribute to feelings of sadness and helplessness, and even lead to symptoms of depression and anxiety. Mental health awareness is big right now. Let's be aware of our own mental health. When we get into negative situations like this, we need to set boundaries and prioritize our own self-care. I'm going to tell you the easiest way to do that. When somebody comes to you with their drama crap, their negativity, and they're constantly using you as the negativity dumping station, one way you can set boundaries is every time they come to you, immediately in the kindest and nicest way possible, excuse yourself from the phone call with them or excuse yourself from the personal interaction. Go, take a deep breath, relax, be consciously aware of where you're at and what's going on, pick up your goal card and read this goal card over and over and over again until you've mentally reset, until all that negativity is washed away, and then re-engage with a more positive and active approach to the conversation. I'm not saying don't listen to them and don't empathize with them and don't try to help them, but have limits. Your glass is already so full. How much are you going to let them add to your glass, your personal glass, until you're overflowed and it begins to impact you? Now, we want to be good to others, but we want to make sure that others understand they need to be good to us, right? And that's perfectly okay. Now, you feel guilty maybe when you prioritize your own needs over others. Do you ever do that? Sometimes I do with my kids, I'll have something I want to go do, but I know they either don't want to do it or they have something else that I know they would prefer to do over what I want to do. And so, I'll go do what they want to do and I'll spend time with them and do that. That's just part of being a parent. But when friends come to you and you have an idea of how you want to spend your day and they're like, oh, we need to go do this and I need your help with this and we need that and we need this and over there and whatever else, we've got to set boundaries. You shouldn't feel guilty or selfish when prioritizing your own needs and well-being, because it reveals your empathy is causing you to neglect yourself consistently. When you're constantly putting others' needs or others' requests above and beyond what it is that you had already planned for. I tell you what, if you have this issue and you're neglecting your individual hobbies and interests in favor of spending time with somebody else who's demanding your time, it will take a toll on your health, and the neglect will begin to show, both physically and mentally. Now remember, you're an intelligent individual. You know that there are certain things that we need to put above and beyond ourselves, right? Sometimes our family needs us. We care for our family. We love them. And we do the best we can to help. But when job or something else says, hey, I need you to come in on Saturday and do these TPS reports, maybe the TPS reports can wait until Monday because I need a weekend so that I can relax, I can recharge, and I can care for myself. Hey, you have goals you're working towards, so you're busy on the weekend anyway. You're trying to define a path, a roadway to easily get to your goal so you can achieve amazing and wonderful things in your life, right? You have a lot going on. So remember, you're important, you have value, and your needs and desires are something that should and can be prioritized. All you have to do is just prioritize them for yourself, okay? And start to find time for yourself. And it's easy to find time for yourself without neglecting your family's needs. Now, that's something Doug just said. Yeah, I know I said it, but, typically means that you might have to wake up a little bit earlier and go to bed a little bit later. It may also mean you need to work a little less. But you can find time for all of these activities. And, sometimes it's just a matter of sitting down with a blank piece of paper and having two lists. Things that are being requested of me. And then your other list is my priorities. And if you sit down and analyze those two lists, I think when you look at the things that are being requested of you for a given day versus what your priorities are, you're going to be able to set up a plan of action that will allow you to help accomplish the high priority items that are being requested of you and still find time for the priorities that you've set for yourself. But have a plan of action. Don't just try to do it all up here off the top of your head. You'll get confused. It will just cause problems, okay? So at least have a plan of action to where you can help those who are in dire need of your assistance. Some people just want your attention and just are lazy and don't want to do it for themselves, right? So they want you to come over because you're helpful and you're somebody who will just buckle down and get it done while they sit there and drink a soda pop or whatever. I've had those types of relationships. Just set realistic boundaries and be honest with yourself about the given circumstances of each situation where your interaction is being requested, okay? Now, do you feel drained and exhausted after spending time with certain people? This kind of plays into what I was just saying. I mean, do you ever feel emotionally drained after spending time with a friend or a family member? Even worse, it might be a coworker with whom you spend 40 plus hours weekly. And you know these people, right? Excessive empathy can do that to you. It can make you more susceptible to absorbing the emotions of others, especially if you're highly sensitive. And you know, we're highly sensitive people. We're caring individuals. We have a lot going on. We're ultra successful, and we need to manage our time and our interactions with others effectively. You know, spending time with people going through challenging or consistently negative situations can overwhelm anyone, let alone someone highly compassionate like you. And you know these people. They constantly have drama going on in their life. They constantly have problems. Do you know what? They're doing it to themselves. If they want to change their lives, they need to change their lives. They're sitting there rattling off to you what they got going on in their day-to-day activity with other individuals. The bills are piling up. Everything else is going on. They dislike their children, you know the person, and they're doing it to themselves. They could set a plan of action up to pay their bills on time. They could set a plan of action up to have better interactions with their families. That's not your responsibility, nor is it your responsibility to sit around and listen to that crap all day long. You know those people, they just drain you. I tell you what, it's like pulling the plug on a bathtub. Your positivity and your energy levels go down like the water in the tub until guess what? They're home sleeping in bed, you're empty, feeling negative, and they've drained you completely. You know how it is. So you need to set boundaries. And what do? We, in the kindest and nicest way possible, we step away from those circumstances, take a deep breath, read your goal card over and over and over until you've refocused, and then move on to a more positive circumstance. You don't have to be the sounding board for everybody, okay? There are others in the world that can assist them as well. You're not everybody's support infrastructure. You don't have to be. They have other friends. They have other ways to find support. And you can recommend those paths to them as well and say, hey, look, it sounds like maybe it would be good if you talked to somebody. I just want to recommend that there are a lot of free services online where you can do a video interaction and actually get some good advice. I unfortunately am not good at giving advice in situations like this, so I don't think I'm going to be of much help to you in this circumstance. But I want to help you find somebody who can help you. And then help them find somebody. That's the way we work with others. We team up with them and help them get their needs met. And if they have mental health needs of depression, whatever it might be, they're constantly negative, they're, whatever it might be, we can help those people find a professional that can assist them. And right now there's a lot of options available online. There's free services, there's low-cost services. You could just go out and very easily help to find something for them. Now, how they take that recommendation, I don't know. But you know what? Sometimes and they may not want to be your friend anymore because you don't want to listen to their negative crap. But you know what? Sometimes when we lose people in our lives, it's not always a loss. And I hate to say that, but sometimes when people move on and don't want to be our friends anymore because we don't want to swim in their negative pool, that's perfectly okay. When I'm over here in my positive world, I support you. If you come to me, I'll help you if I can. But we just want to make sure that we don't get drugged down into the negative muck every single time we interact with others. If it's at a workplace, maybe we need to find something better, a better job, better opportunity. Do you feel responsible for other people's emotions and well-being? Well, we just kind of talked about that. I kind of already touched on that, and we said that putting others' needs before our own is bad, right? And we already kind of discussed that. And if you're doing that, you might, and even if you take the steps that I'd recommended, you might still feel responsible for other people's emotions and well-being. And here's the deal. Constantly feeling responsible for others' significant strains, it strains your mental and emotional health, and it can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and eventually it's going to emotionally exhaust you. Like I said, I recommend encouraging them to take responsibility for their own emotions, health, and welfare, and then support them in developing their own coping mechanisms and problem-solving skills. And you can do that very easily by recommending that they speak to somebody who is a professional, who has experience in assisting and setting up plans of action where they can develop problem-solving skills. And it's going to allow them to grow and become more self-reliant, right? Now, do you often feel taken advantage of by others? I don't even want to go down this road for myself. I got to tell you, nobody wanted to ride on the Vandergraph bus back when I was broke and couldn't afford any gas. Now that I got all the gas I want, everybody wants to ride on my bus. You see, friends came out of the woodwork. It's funny, when you get successful, you start building things up in your life. It's amazing all the people who weren't there when you were struggling, who are there now when you're not, And you want to be very careful of this, because feeling taken advantage by others is a common experience when your kindness and empathy aren't balanced with healthy boundaries. Now, others come to expect or rely on your willingness to help or give, and this can lead to them taking advantage of your generosity. So if every time they call, you constantly jump and run over to their house and help them with this, that, and the other thing, you're setting an unhealthy precedent for individuals that they may not even know, but if it's just a habit, humans are creatures of habit, and they may not intentionally be trying to hurt you. They may just have developed this habit to where their minds know that, hey, I got this problem. The solution to that problem is calling you on the phone, right? And so you can't constantly give. And if you're not receiving a similar level of care, attention, or appreciation in return, right, it leads to feelings of being used or undervalued. So you want to make sure, this definitely breeds resentment and frustration over time, and it can definitely lead to relationship strains, right? And I think all of us kind of maybe feel undervalued. It's unfortunate that we just, as adults, a lot of adults haven't developed the interpersonal skills that will allow them to appropriately relate to others. And it can make you feel undervalued if you're constantly a yes man. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll help with that. People develop the habit that, hey, I know I can go to that person. They'll always say yes. We need to set appropriate boundaries. Now, do you have a hard time accepting compliments or praise? I'm an introvert, and introverts typically have a hard time accepting compliments or praise. We don't like to be the center of attention. I definitely don't like to be the center of attention. But some people who have too much empathy are also like that. It doesn't mean you're an introvert because you're empathetic, and if that's you, the next time someone compliments you, simply express gratitude instead of dismissing or downplaying it. And we talked about this in the past. There was a past video where I talked about accepting appreciation, accepting, what's the word I'm looking for here? You want to accept, I totally lost my train of thought. You want to accept that what's been accomplished was as a result of your actions, your activity. Don't push things off. When somebody says, hey, you did a really great job on that, and they compliment you, or they say, hey, you have I really like the way you look today, or whatever it is, you say, hey, just say thank you. That's it. Just by saying thank you every time someone compliments you, one, the conversation's over, so if you don't feel comfortable accepting compliments, you're not going to have to get any deeper into it. Just say thank you. It shows gratitude. It allows you to accept positive feedback, and it also allows you to mentally affirm your strengths and the fact that that's an achievement you accomplished. Okay, you want to build yourself up here, because remember, you're not only listening to the things people say around you, you're also listening to the internal conversation you're having with yourself up here in your brain. Both words, both conversations impact you in exactly the same way. If you're constantly downplaying yourself in your brain, it has the same impact on you mentally and on your performance as if someone in your circle was constantly verbally speaking into your ear and downplaying you all day long. You cannot downplay yourself. You have to build yourself up as if you would like others to build you up. Okay, you got to do it. But accepting compliments, I know that's tough. just say thank you. You know, if you have a hard time asking for help, I'm somebody who always had a hard time asking for help. And when I identified that, hey, Doug, sometimes you need help. You see, I was in a wheelchair for about 9 months, an electric wheelchair, totally paralyzed on the left side of my body. And everybody had to do everything for me. Everything. Because this arm was, I had broke this wrist to the point where I wasn't even supposed to be able to use this hand anymore, right? So you can see I have a surgical scar on that hand. They went in and did a bunch of reconstructive surgery, and it was kind of a hopeful thing. Hey, we hope your hand works someday, but it was immobilized for quite some time. So here I am, paralyzed on the left side of my body, can't use my right arm for anything. I'm in this like little electric wheelchair thing, and I'm not somebody who is very good at asking others for help. Yet everybody had to help me, and I had to kind of swallow some pride and learn to accept help from others. And it was kind of forced on me that I had to accept that help. But it's a skill that I still had to develop over the course of my life, you know, because sometimes we get so selfless that it might actually be hurting us. And, you know, we have a hard time asking others for help. You know, I want to do everything for myself without anyone's help. You know, and one of the reasons is that I'm too controlling, and that others, you know, I'm just a proponent of saying, if you want to do it good, do it yourself. I grew up in that type of a situation. My father was a farmer, and, you know, they were all self-workers, self-made individuals who went out and used their hands, right, every day. Dirty hands, clean money, right? And it's one of those things where I was just taught, do it yourself. If you can get it done yourself, you get it done. I now realize that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, and quite the opposite. It's a sign of strength and self-awareness. I know that with others, together we can accomplish more than I can ever accomplish by myself. You know, and it does take courage to admit you can't do everything on your own, and that asking for assistance is, being able to ask for assistance is a valuable resource. In fact, many people do certain things better than me, and asking them for help results in better outcomes. Okay, so Doug doesn't know everything. Doug doesn't do everything the best. But I know some people who are super smart and are amazing at what they do. So when I work for them, I not only get the benefits of my self-initiative, my drive, and my intelligence, but I meld that with theirs, and we do incredible things together. It's amazing what we get done. And those are the people that I have as a part of my internal team. And I love to surround myself with others who are self-aware enough to understand that we need to work together as a team. And if we do, we're not only going to win, we're going to win big, really big. So do you ever feel like you have to be the one to fix other people's problems? You know, another sign that kindness and empathy are hurting you is that you feel like you have to be the one to fix everybody else's problems. This leads to stress, exhaustion, feelings of being overwhelmed, and it is completely emotionally draining. And you're also making people over-reliant on your help if you do not develop the necessary skills or resilience to set boundaries. Again, we're talking about boundaries here. Set boundaries with others. Let them know what you're willing and not willing to do. And sometimes you can accomplish your task by just saying no. No, I'm sorry, today I have other plans, or I have something. You don't have to go into a big long story, and it doesn't matter what it is you have to do. You just say, hey, thanks for asking me to help you. I really appreciate the opportunity, but unfortunately today I have other plans. You know, maybe I could help you later on next week, but right today I have plans. Set boundaries. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say no. Now, we've talked about some reasons as to why we might be overly empathetic or overly kind. And, you know, so what do we do about it? Now, I've already hinted at what you should do if you're getting overwhelmed by taking care of others and catering to their needs instead of yours. But, you know, I want us to remember that if we set boundaries and establish emotional boundaries that prevent empathy burnout, if we learn to say no when someone asks for help, We limit our time engaging with emotionally draining people or situations, or we simply just don't take others' emotional burdens as our own. It'll change everything. You don't have to spend every day with that emotionally draining individual. You can help them find a place where they can get assistance for their thoughts and the way they're functioning emotionally and mentally. It doesn't have to weigh or drain you down. Now, I'm not saying throw them to the curb completely. We can still be friends with those folks and have time and interaction with them, but let's limit that amount of time and interaction, and let's help them identify better ways, better coping mechanisms for what it is that they need in their lives. Because we only get one life, right? You only get one bite of the apple. That's it, all right? You only get one life, so we've got to maximize the potential of this one. Time is valuable. How do you want to spend your time? Other people get paid to spend their time listening to others' issues and helping them to identify professionally defined ways to address their circumstance. That's going to be the best. When you're sick and you have an illness, you go to the doctor. When you have a constant negativity issue where your life is losing traction, you feel like everything's out of control, there are individuals out there who are professionals at dealing with that circumstance as well. Let them do their job. Let them help those people. The outcomes will be greater if you let a professional assist somebody who's in a circumstance that it just seems like a drain, where their life is out of control and they need to find some sort of bedrock to stand on so they can define an appropriate approach for moving forward in their lives. Let the professionals help them, but don't strand those people. Make sure you help them identify and that they do have some place to go to get professional assistance before you just walk away. Remember, sometimes people are just hanging on by a thread, and sometimes we're that thread, okay? So you want to make sure that those people are squared away. They have some sort of a mechanism in their life that's allowing them to cope and is helping them out before we completely divulge the relationship or just move on. We don't want to be like, okay, I recommended they go to this website. I don't have to deal with that person anymore. I'm blocking their phone number. That's not the appropriate way. We'll set boundaries, limit our interaction, but we'll also monitor and ensure that those friends of ours that need assistance are getting the appropriate assistance that they need. That's what successful people do. We help each other, but we don't drain each other until they're running you into the dirt even lower than they are. You know what I mean? And I just want to make sure you understand that we need to help people, okay? But we also don't need to help people at the cost of our own, mental health and our own physical health, but help them find a way they can get the assistance they need. Remember, we can't change them. We can only change us. And if you want to change your life, you got to change your life. If they want to change their life, they got to change their life. For the most part, people resist change unless they identify that they want to change for themselves. It's 100% the truth. And we want to develop a healthy identity also, getting back on track here. Develop a healthy identity outside of helping others. Have other interests, have hobbies and relationships that are not centered around helping or empathizing with others. This will provide you with the necessary counterbalance to your empathy and kindness, okay? So make sure you have other things going on in your life that are important to you, hobbies, things like that, and engage in those activities. Don't just constantly engage in everybody else's drama. Engage in some things that are for you, that help you to be a better person, that help you to kind of disconnect a little bit and recharge your battery, okay? That's okay. And you need to identify those things. That might be skiing. I live in Colorado, so we have snowboarding. I'm a sledder myself. I love to go sledding or inner tubing. Handicapped guys don't ski very well, okay? So, and some do, but this one doesn't, all right? So I'm more of a sledder myself. And those are winter activities. In the summer, I spend time with family. We go to the park, go for a walk. There's lots of things you can do, and a walk is a great way to recharge your battery. It's a great way to unwind. The human body loves to go for a walk. I don't know what it is, but when you walk, you release all these amazing chemicals in your brain and in your body, and it helps you to detox and feel good. So exercise is great. But whatever it is that's important to you, whatever hobbies or interests you have, make sure you engage in those things, and don't do it at the expense of having to solve other people's problems or go and hang out with everybody else. You shouldn't be the only friend that they have, and if you are, maybe you could help them to identify ways or groups which they could get involved in so that they can find more friends, and more people to engage with. And I want you to practice self-care. Taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental health can come as a result of exercising, having a healthy diet, getting adequate sleep, or just kicking back and relaxing. On this YouTube channel, I have a whole category of the best relaxation videos. Sometimes it's nice to just put some relaxing music that doesn't have any words. It's just legitimate, relaxing instrumental that can help you, and just sit down, and you don't always have to be doing something. You'll be surprised if you just sit on the couch for 20 minutes, put on one of those videos, and just sit there and relax and let the music just kind of drift you away. It'll recharge your battery, it'll help you to relax, and it'll help you to define a better mental approach for the day. It's amazing. Reducing stress improves so many different aspects of not only our physical but our emotional health. Okay? And I also want you to, if you need support because you're feeling overwhelmed from others, or maybe you just feel like your life is a little bit out of control, don't be afraid to talk about your feelings with friends and family. Okay? But also consider seeking help from a therapist or a counselor, especially one that's trained in empathy management or compassion fatigue. And these individuals are out there, and I know that they can help you. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video of just some ideas around where professional help can be sought if needed. Remember, we don't have to take on the burdens of the entire world all by ourselves. There are others out there that can help us as well. We don't always have to be the helper. Sometimes we need help, and it's perfectly okay to ask for help, all right? Successful people know that it's okay to ask for help. You're amazing. There are incredible things inside you. You're going to accomplish amazing things moving forward, and I'm going to come back tomorrow, and we're going to keep working together, okay? I want to get you where you want to be. You want to get yourself where you want to be. We're going to have amazing success. We're going to win, and we're going to win big, right? I hope you have a wonderful day, my friends. I care about you. I think you're amazing, and I believe in you, and I know you can do it, okay? Have a wonderful day. I'll be back tomorrow. Take care, my friends. Goodbye.